How can you stop your pet rabbit or rodent going potty?
How could I mend a hole in the ozone layer?
And how can you stop your trousers from getting horribly muddy?
How? How?
Come on.
How?
How do you get out of rope handcuffs that Carol Vorderman has put on you?
This is a great how, this one. I love it.
Brilliant. And how are we going to be able to do how, Carol? Tie it together
well,
like this.
I'll pose the problem for you. Now, I've tied Gareth's wrists together with a piece of string, and I've done the same to Fred, and I've interlocked them, and you can't wriggle your wrists out of the string, can you?
No, we can't.
OK, good how. Try and get out of
It's got to be
it.
a mathematical type.
I know. If I put my hand over your head,
yes,
like that.
That's
slide
it.
down.
Straight
like
down.
Yeah, straight down.
Step out. And oh, sorry, Gav.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yep. Oh, come on, Carol.
No, I need to get inside again, I think.
No, I can show you a good how. We'll leave them to argue about that just for a while. How can you keep your biscuits fresh? You know the problem, you've had a few biscuits from the packet and you sort of twist the top and then that all undoes and the biscuits at the bottom of the packet go all moist and soggy and not very nice. Well, this is how you can keep your biscuits fresh. Take a fresh packet. The how is you cut the top off with a knife. Empty the biscuits out, offer them round to a few friends. Then all you have to do is plonk the top, which you've cut off, back inside the packet. And that gives a nice seal and keeps your biscuits fresh. Would you like a few?
Right, Fred.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Right, you need to back up, mate.
Would you like a biscuit, Gaz?
No, he
yeah, I
doesn't
would,
want
actually.
a
I'd
biscuit.
love a
No, he
biscuit.
hasn't got time for a biscuit.
Lift
Now-
your leg, lift your leg, lift your leg.
Right.
Right. Now,
How do we get out of this?
OK. Hold your arms like that. I'll take a loop from Gaz's string.
Yes.
yeah?
Give me your wrist. I push that loop through your bit of string over your hand.
Never work.
Pull it out.
OK, now one more how. How do I get out of that?
Because I like you today, I'll just cut you out.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, may I continue now, if you don't
Yes.
mind?
Try some more people do that kind
Right,
of
a serious culinary type how now. How do you make popcorn pop? In other words, how do I turn that, which is a kernel of corn, into that, which is a piece of popcorn? Well, believe it or not, the little kernel of corn comes from an ordinary common or garden corn on the cob. How do I turn it into popcorn? I'll show you how. All you need is a dried kernel of corn and just stick it in some hot oil and wait and see what happens. I'll stick 2 or 3 of his brothers and sisters in there as well, just so that we get the idea. Now, within a matter of seconds, in theory, the whole thing should explode and turn into popcorn. How does it happen? Well, I'll tell you how. You see, on the outside, your kernel of corn has got quite a tough skin, but inside it's full of pulp, and there's a lot of moisture in that pulp. And when that moisture gets hot, it gives off steam, the pressure builds up and up and up until suddenly, pop! Amazingly, your sweet little kernel of corn has turned itself completely inside out and become popcorn. And the brown bits you see on the outside of the popcorn are in fact what was previously the skin of the kernel of corn. It's quite an amazing and wondrous thing to happen. Of course, if you actually want to pop your own popcorn, then a good thing to get would be one of these popcorn poppers. But if, like me, you have to do it in a little saucepan, the other thing to remember is please keep the saucepan lid on, otherwise, not only how, but pow! Well, that's how to make popcorn pop.
Put it back, Fred, put it back.
No, I like it.
My kind of how that. How do you play the hydrodactylo-psychic harmonica?
The what?
The what?
The hydrodactylo-psychic harmonica.
Is it some sort of animal that you...
No. Let me explain. You'll be needing one of these, Carol.
Oh, this
Fred?
is a hydro-mini-key.
No, it isn't. I'll show you what this is. Lay it out in front of you, Carol.
Yeah.
Now, open it up. Fred,
Yeah.
open yours too.
Yes.
You slide that bit through the handle there, like that.
Yes.
Something like that.
Like so.
Pull out the bits at the side like this.
Yeah.
Yes. Open it up. Oh,
Oh,
look.
that's the hydro-mini-key thing.
No,
Dick
no,
thought.
no, Carol.
No.
It's a bow tie. But you'll need it in a moment. Put it on.
But it's
Right.
Now, next thing you do is finish opening up your case like this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then crimp it at the sides like that.
Yeah.
Then yours. And
Oh, and then you've got the catch again.
that
haven't
brace
you?
together there like that. And once you've done that,
It's like a music stand.
that's exactly what it is, Fred. This isn't hydrodactylic psychoharmonica at all. It's a music stand and combined case, a new design. You'll be needing your music, Carol.
Thank you.
Fred, place your music in your stand.
And that's
Very
the how.
strange.
No, that's not the how. Come with me to the how.
Ah.
For over here, I
This
have
is the most
many
weird-looking
wonders.
music I've ever seen.
Me too. I like the look of it.
You'll
though.
need it, you'll need it. Put your music stands down. And finally, this is the hydrodactylo psychic harmonica.
Oh, it's glasses with water in them.
Why is it called this? Let me explain. Well, hydro, obviously, because there's water involved. Dactylo, well, that means your little pinky there like that. Psychic, well, you've got to use a bit of nous to play this thing, a little bit of your brain. And harmonica is not the original word for mouth organ. It actually originally means musical glass. So this is the hydrodactylo psychic harmonica.
You just like saying it,
I
don't
do, I
you?
do.
Yeah.
And this is how you play it. You wet your
Right.
finger, then you run it round the rim.
Have a go.
And the glass sings. Go on.
Oh.
That is lovely, I must say.
Now then, you guys, with a little bit of concentration and using the provided music, we should be able to play. This is I should explain the how hydrodactylo psychic harmonica orchestra. I just wanted to say it again. And we should be able to play music from Dvorak's New World Symphony. Now, 1, 2, 4, 7.
Thank you.
And that's how you play the hydrodactylo psychic harmonica.
How can you stop your pet mouse from going mad? Or to put it another way, how can you prevent your pet rabbit or gerbil or hamster or general all-purpose rodent from going potty? Let me explain. Carol, would you just hold Roger for me while I do this particular
love to.
how? I think he prefers you anyway. Now, you see, all rodents, and indeed rabbits, are born with two pairs of incisors, which they use for chewing their food. And they constantly grind together as they chew, which is just as well because they never stop growing, but the constant grinding against each other keeps them at the right length and also makes them very sharp. So where's the problem? The problem comes if one of these incisors actually falls out, or indeed if they get out of line with each other, because of course the ones that are remaining still keep on growing. Take a look at this rabbit skull here. Now, his incisors have got totally out of line, but of course they've got nothing to grind against, so they keep on growing and growing and growing completely the wrong way. And if you look at this rat skull, something has gone terribly wrong with his incisors. They're not grinding against each other as they should be. They're not in line anymore, and they virtually turn back on themselves, causing him, I would have thought, great discomfort. And what can even happen is the incisors can go right round the creature's head and actually come back into his head, puncturing his brain and causing him to go quite mad. So how do you prevent that happening? Well, make sure that your pet's teeth are very healthy, they're in good condition, and make sure they've got the right things to chew. And that's how you'll stop your pet mouse and rabbits and rodents going potty.
Now, how could I mend the hole in the ozone layer? As you might have guessed, a dangerous how. This, so if you could don your sunglasses, I shall tell you more. Now, this little beauty is a Tesla coil, and what it does is it produces very, very high voltages, which sends out these lightning sparks. Now, the first one was built over 100 years ago, and it was a bit like the first radio transmitter. Nowadays, they're not used for anything much more than Frankenstein machines, really. However, what's this got to do with ozone? Well, at the same time as sending out the sparks, it also produces ozone. But ozone down here, where we live and breathe, isn't very good. It's very smelly, and it also can be poisonous. But up there, ozone is good. You see, if you can imagine that is the Earth, right? And this is the ozone layer around it. Now, the ozone layer acts a little bit like sunglasses. It stops all the harmful rays going through. OK, what has happened, unfortunately, is that a hole has been made in the ozone layer. Not good, because it allows the rays to go through. Now, we're not exactly sure what has caused the hole, but we do know that CFCs, which are used in some aerosols, are bad for it. They deplete it. Why are they bad? Let me show this little demonstration. These are bits of ozone, and this is a CFC. So we're now floating around in the higher atmosphere. What happens is a CFC goes, oh, there's a bit of ozone. Wallop. Kills it. Wallop.
Oh, nasty.
Wallop, 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 wallop. The ozone is depleted, but the CFC stays the same. Now, the Tesla coil, of course, could be sent up there, but it would not produce very much ozone. It would also use most of the electricity produced in the world. So the best thing we can do to cure the hole in the ozone layer is not to use CFCs.
How can you stop your trousers from getting muddy? You know the problem. You're going out for a walk, you know it's going to be a wet and muddy day, so you put on your wellies and you set off for a walk. And even though the mud is only just deep enough to go over the top of your wellies, you always seem to end up with mud spattered right the way up the inside of your trousers. Well, obviously, this is a serious problem. I've been giving it some serious thought. But let me explain first why the mud gets carried there. If you come over here, I have a mole, which can explain what's going on. Now then, assume these are my legs. Here's the mud. In you go to the mud like that. See, the mud only just covering the feet there. And as you walk, just see what happens. The feet pick up the mud and transfer it to the opposite leg. Now, that opposite leg then transfers the mud further way up, and very quickly you realise that the mud has been carried all the way up, if you can just see it on this side here, all the way up the inside of the leg. So obviously the problem is having your legs together. So I've decided to do a little work on the preventative measures necessary to suspend this mud spattering situation. So the first thing you need to do is don the device. This is the Mark 1 mud management and leg separation device, which you wear quite easy to slip into. And already you can see I have to keep my legs apart, and consequently, no matter how much I splash in the mud now, because my legs are apart, the mud is not carried up the inside of the legs. Now, this is obviously only one answer to the solution. Carol is demonstrating another version. This is the Mark 2. How's that, Carol, okay?
Hang on.
Yeah. Now you can see the legs are kept clearly apart here, and with the increased separation, it's easier to get in and out of those mud baths to test the system. Perhaps a little impractical, but a very, very sensible.
Yes, I wouldn't like to walk up Snowdon with these on, guys,
Well,
I must
no,
say.
I don't think so. Fred, on the other hand, is demonstrating a new kind of principle.
This is a cracker, this is,
This
guys,
is good.
see.
Get that mud on there.
Yeah, get the mud on there.
And
Lots
watch
and
this.
lots of mud. Now watch this.
This is my Mark 2 system. It's an active control system, rather than simply a guard or a mud shield, but this is spraying the mud down.